Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea. What if the future of your brain isn't set in stone by your genes? What if it's something you can actually start building right now? So let's just jump right in with the number 40%. Now, on its own, it might not sound like much, but this single number, it completely changes the game when we talk about brain health. Yep, that's what it means. A huge study, a landmark report in The Lancet back in 2020, found that a full 40% of our risk for dementia, it's not written in our DNA. It's actually preventable. It comes down to the choices we make, day in and day out. So, you can see this isn't about worrying about something way down the road. It's really a call to action for right now. But that leads to the big question, right? How? How do we actually take control and start building that stronger, more resilient brain? Okay, so here's where we start. It's all about realizing that you're the one in the driver's seat. Your brain's destiny, it isn't sealed at birth. Nope, it's actually shaped by all those little choices we make every single day. And honestly, that is a total game changer. It takes the focus off the genes we can't change and puts it squarely on the actions we can. So where do we start? Well, the first place we're going to look is probably not where you'd expect. Believe it or not, the journey to a healthier mind, it doesn't even start in your head. It actually starts in your gut. I know. It sounds a little like sci-fi, right? A second brain. But it's true. Your gut has this whole complex nervous system of its own, and it's in constant communication with your actual brain. It's influencing everything, from your mood to your thoughts. And check out this number, 40 trillion T. That's the estimated number of tiny little microorganisms living inside your gut. We call this your microbiome. And just to give you some perspective, that's about the same number of human cells in your entire body. Wow. And these little guys, they're not just along for the ride. You can think of them as tiny chemical factories. They're busy producing all these crucial neurotransmitters, including something like half of all your dopamine. You know, the chemical that's so important for mood, for learning, for planning. Yeah, half of it comes from your gut. This has led to this amazing new field of science called psychobiotics. The whole idea is using good bacteria, probiotics, to help with mental health. Now look, the science is still pretty new, but the main idea here is super powerful. A happy gut really does help support a happy mind. So how do we take care of this second brain? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. It really comes down to a few key habits. You want to eat a huge variety of plants, like 30 different kinds a week. Get tons of fiber to feed those good microbes, and you also have to get enough sleep and keep your stress in check, because those things can really throw your gut out of whack. All right, so we've got our foundation set with diet. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools we have in our arsenal for building a better brain, movement. But wait, before we even get to hitting the gym, we've got to talk about the most crucial form of recovery there is, sleep. Seriously, it's not just rest time, it's your brain's nightly maintenance crew coming in. When you're in deep sleep, your brain has this amazing glymphatic system that literally power washes all the toxic junk that builds up while you're awake. Okay, now let's talk exercise. And the benefits here are just staggering. I mean, get this. One study out of the University of Miami found that older folks who did just moderate physical exercise had brains that looked 10 years younger on MRI scans. 10 years. That's incredible. So the natural question is, what kind of exercise is the best? Well, it turns out the answer is a mix. You need both. Aerobic exercise, running, swimming, that's amazing for blood flow and for boosting molecules that help with learning. But then you have resistance training, lifting weights, and that's been shown to directly improve things like attention and memory. But it's not just about the physical stuff. We also need to exercise our minds. This builds up something called cognitive reserve. You can think of it like a savings account for your brain or a mental cushion. It helps your brain handle damage as you get older without you even noticing the effects. So how do you build up this reserve? Simple. Lifelong learning. Seriously, study after study shows that things like challenging jobs, picking up new hobbies, or getting more education are all tied to a much, much lower risk of dementia. You're basically making your brain tougher, more resilient. Okay, but here's a really important piece of the puzzle. Brain health is not a solo sport. It's actually deeply, profoundly shaped by our connections to other people and to the world around us. And the numbers here are just wild.
A huge review of studies found that people who were single had a 40% higher risk of developing dementia than their married friends. Now, this isn't about marriage itself, but it really highlights just how protective being socially connected is.
And there's a biological reason for this. Loneliness isn't just a sad feeling, you know? It's a biological warning system. It's like hunger or thirst. When you're lonely for a long time, it can put your brain on high alert, which increases inflammation and makes it harder to think clearly and make good decisions. And it's not just about people. Our physical environment is a huge piece of this too. There's this idea called attention restoration theory. Basically, it says our ability to pay attention is like a muscle that gets tired, and spending time in nature, especially near water, lets that muscle rest and recharge, restoring our focus. So let's pull this all together. We've talked about diet, movement, connection, and it's pretty clear, right? There's no magic pill here. A healthier brain isn't about some quick fix. It's the result of small, consistent, positive changes to your lifestyle. And if you want to make those changes actually stick, the secret is understanding the habit loop. Every habit has these three parts: a cue or a trigger, the routine, which is the action itself, and the reward. Once you see that pattern, you can start to consciously build new, healthier habits to replace the old ones that aren't helping you. So at the end of the day, the science gives us a really clear roadmap. Your brain's future is literally being built today by you. By focusing on how you eat, how you move, how you sleep, and how you connect with others, you're not just preventing something bad from happening down the line. You are actively right now building a stronger, sharper, and more resilient mind for the rest of your life.